Joining me now, Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary, Fox News contributor, author of the new book, Suppression, Deception, Snobbery, and Bias, Why the Press Gets So Much Wrong, and Molly Hemingway, editor-in-chief of The Federalist and Fox News contributor. Ari, I'm seeing this, and I know you are as well. There's an unmistakable shift in the media's tone here. They see the iceberg, and it's the midterm elections. And it seems like they're bearing down on that iceberg pretty fast.
Yeah, and the danger here for Joe Biden and all Democrats in the House and in the Senate, and why a lot of districts that you thought were going to be safe Democrat are going to be in play this November, is all this is a sign of how depressed the Democratic base is. And what happens, Lauren, in these first midterm elections, the opposite party is excited, they've ginned up, they can't wait to go vote the bums out of office. And that's the way a lot of people feel about Joe Biden. But the Democrat base is not excited. They were never really excited by Joe Biden to begin with. They just saw him as the alternative to Donald Trump. And now that he's doing so poorly, and you have liberal columnists piling on, it further demoralizes, depresses the Democratic base, leading to a November election which Republicans surge in turnout and Democrats stay home. That compounds all of the Democrat problems. That's why it's likely to be a tsunami in November.
Well, I think, Molly, they're also getting nastier as things are getting more desperate for the Democrats. Something that Nicole Wallace said, watch.
I worry that in covering Glenn Youngkin and his politics of parental choice, all the focus was on how well it worked. And even in our conversations about DeSantis, it's about how well they're serving him. The truth is, dehumanization as a tactic for politics is from war. The Russians get their soldiers to rape children by dehumanizing them. It's being deployed in our politics.
Molly, your reaction to that unhinged rant?
It is unhinged, and it's something she should actually apologize for. This is the type of rhetoric that is really unacceptable. But it is an indication, again, of what we're seeing in this election at this time. Because of how much the Democrat Party has kind of moved precipitously to the left and become much more abnormal in its politics, it's allowing Republicans to take this massive amount of ground, just sort of that 80% of the country that's normal, that doesn't think that people should talk to kids about sex or gender issues without parental consent, and turning that into a political issue when it's really broadly supported by, members of, by voters in both parties, really gets it to at what Ari was just saying about the trouble that Democrats are going to have come November.
And Ari, there was news of a potential Bernie 2024 run today. So this exchange from his former staffer was interesting.
I was critical of Governor DeSantis, still am, during the height of COVID. Yeah. But if you really look at the numbers, Florida actually came out
got a story to tell.
All right. He has a story to tell.
And the economy is strong.
And the economy is strong.
I mean, I almost fell out of my chair there, Ari. It's almost as if they're finally getting it. DeSantis actually managed the situation pretty well.
She needs to be careful. She's either going to get herself canceled or Joe Biden's bunny rabbit's going to attack her. Look, I mean, one of the big factors going on in all these elections in all these states is the Republicans in red states have been talking common sense, and it started when COVID began. Republicans were much more in tune with the needs of the people. And there's also a looking back on how successful things were under President Trump, how strong the economy was, how child poverty had dropped, how unemployment was so low for blacks, for Hispanics, how we were at peace across the country, the destruction of ISIS. All those successes, shutting down the border also, all those successes have just been washed away by Joe Biden reversing everything he could possibly do, regardless of the consequences. And now you're starting to hear at least some people frankly acknowledge how well Republican governors have done. Republicans have a great big deep bench, and we're seeing examples of that every day.
Molly, it seems to me that from New England to the Southwest to the Midwest, something's changing. I mean, you feel it. You feel it in the Hispanic polling. You feel it in the polling of young people. They might not have liked some things about Trump, and that's what they think. But they know this is bad. They know it. There's no spinning it as Biden cares, or he feels your pain, or he was poor once too. None of that makes a difference.
And again, this isn't just a Biden problem, but an entire Democrat Party problem, because they do control everything in Washington, D.C., the presidency, the Senate, the House. You're seeing in these states where Republican governors are experimenting with different ways of doing things, contrary to the way the federal government has been doing things in recent years, that these are much more popular. You saw that poll just last week showing that Biden's approval numbers are just horrific among Hispanic voters. And what we saw in 2020, yes, Republicans did poorly in that election, but they had more voters than they've ever had before, and they created this broad, multiracial, working-class party. And I think that's got to be very sobering for Democrats going into the November midterms and into the 2024 election.
Ari, Molly, great to see both of you. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.